Hello, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We are on episode 5. Can you believe we're already on episode 5? This is Tamar Get Your Life, Celebration in Chaos, and that it was. So let's get into the review. So the show starts with Tamar preparing for David's 50th birthday celebration. And oh my, oh my, oh my, she went all out for her boo. She loved that man. She did. She made sure she had all different types of Nigerian food. The decorum was beautiful. She just wanted everything to be perfect for David's 50th birthday. Again, you could tell that girl loved that man. So she was just trying to make sure everything was on point there. Then it cuts over to David. David was at work, but he was calling, checking in on his family. His family just flew in from Nigeria, and he was just checking in to make sure that they were okay, make sure everything was cool, because this would be the first time that they were on film. He wanted to make sure that they was still okay with that, and he also wanted to make sure that they was still comfortable with, just what was going on as far as with Goldie. Even though we didn't hear him talking about that conversation with his sister, it opened with him talking to his sister, and that he was just letting them know about his relationship with Tamar and the difference between their family and her family, how they're more conservative, they're more private, and how family means everything in their culture. And when you're dating or marrying into a person, you're actually marrying into the entire family, and it's kind of different, the dynamics. And he also was sharing that even with Tamar's birthday, he was like, I never really made a big deal over my birthday, but seeing how Tamar made such a big deal over her birthday, how she had like pre-parties leading up to the big party. He said he was like, oh, okay. So since she kept asking me that she wanted what I wanted to do, I just told her to go ahead and plan it because, he see how she gets down. And he was like, okay, I tried. So he left that up to her. She just talked a little bit about how she felt Tamar was a little nervous when she met her. And he was like, yeah, that's understandable because I was nervous meeting her family. That's a big deal when you meet somebody's family, which it really is. You want the person you dating to get along with your family. So after that, it comes back to the preparation of the party, the winding down, making sure everything was all tied together. And then the party. Before that, we have a cut to of Goldie talking with the producer, Michael, and she was sharing with him that how uncomfortable she was. She was in a very awkward position because she wants to continue her dream work with Tamar, but she feels that her dream work is being compromised because of David. And she says she knows that when it comes to Tamar and David's relationship, that Tamar, it will sacrifice herself for David. She would sacrifice the work that they've been working on for the sake of her relationship with David. And she was like, it was just really making it impossible for her to do her work. And she feels like quitting. She's like, I'm just going to have to quit. Don't be a quitter, Goldie. No, Goldie, go for it. And can we say, as Goldie was getting dressed, she got some very beautiful features. I was like, okay, Goldie, hiding all that up underneath that hair and that hat. Come through, Goldie, come through. So now we're getting to the party. So when we get to the party, we see David comes in with his family. We see his mom comes in. She is so cute. She was so nervous. This is her first time on camera. She's like, hey. It was so cute. And then he had, of course, his sister and his brother-in-law. So that comes in. David, he finds his way to Tamar, but as he's going through, he's like, this is my first time seeing what she's done, and she has done an amazing job. He is in awe with the work that she has done in preparation for his party. It looks amazing. So he goes and then he sees her. Tamar's dressed all up in these feathers, and I don't know, she had like it was different. And she comes out, and David tells her that she looks kind of old. Not in her face, but he was saying the way she was dressed was kind of like, oh, I kind of got what he said, but the way it came out didn't sound right. So, she was like, wait a minute, I'm gonna let you fix this. So she goes back and do a double take and come back for him to fix it. And he makes it worse. He says, "You look like the lady from Harlem Nights." She said, "Who, Della Reese?" She's like, "Oh boy, bye." And so she left. She went to the sister and she was like, "Your brother just told me I look like an old lady." Mm-mm-mm. So then David is left there to talk with his brother-in-law, and this was a great opportunity for him to talk a little bit about the dream work. So he asked his brother-in-law, he's like, "Are you okay to talk about this on camera?" His brother-in-law was like, "Yeah, I'll talk about it." And then he was like, "So, I was telling you about the Goldie work. What are your thoughts on it? How do you feel about it?" And he was like, "Oh man, that stuff is witchcraft. It is witchcraft. It is witchcraft. I don't care what she said. It is witchcraft. Ain't nowhere in the Bible to say that she messing with outside entities and spirit. No, this is not good. And I don't mind. I would tell her to her face about it." So Dave was like, "Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I thought something was wrong with this." So then we cut back to the party. As we are watching the party, we see Goldie. Goldie was very awkward. She felt awkward because she know David don't like her. She really didn't want to come to the party, and she went to the party against her better judgment because she know David don't like her. But she says she loves Tamar, so she wanted to be there for Tamar. So she gets there, and to help her to be comfortable in this atmosphere, she was throwing the drinks back one after another. And Goldie was feeling good in that party. She was feeling a little bit too good. So much so, she failed and bruised the arm. And she was talking about Goldie was like, when David looked at her, it made her lose her balance. And that's what threw her off. And I was like, no, Goldie. You had too many shots and wine and drinks. That's what threw your balance off. So I think as a professional, you should, stay away from alcohol when you're in your clients, when you're trying to evaluate your client, because that's going to mess up your judgment. But anywho, Tamar, she went to the producer and she asked him, was Goldie okay? And he told her that Goldie felt like, the show was beginning to make a mockery of her work. And she felt like Tamar, the work with Tamar was being compromised. And she just felt like, she didn't know why she was there anymore. And Tamar, she kind of took that to heart. She was like, "Oh my goodness, I don't want anybody to feel like that." And me knowing she feels like that bothers me. That makes me sad. So but it is what it is. So the party goes on. David comes and he tries to pull her from the producer. He's like, "Look, we got so many people going at this party. We got my friends, some of your friends. Hold up. Can we say why Tamar invited her family and none of them came? I mean, nobody came to the party? Nobody? None of the family? It makes me think, is it that her relationship with her family, is it that damaged that they didn't want to be there at the party? Or is it maybe their feelings towards David made them not want to be there to celebrate David? I mean, I don't know. Just something to think about. So, but he was like, you got friends here. Some are your friends. Some of my friends are here for us. They're here for me. We need to go out there and we need to get good hosts. We need to be there. We shouldn't be in these back rooms. And she was like, "Okay, well, I'm tired. Let me have a minute. And then when she did go out there, how about he gonna try to police her on how many drinks she had? He was like, "Tamar, I think you're drunk." And she was like, "David, I had 2 drinks." Anyway, she goes, she changed, she comes back into something more comfortable, and then they end up, winding his party down. She was there with him on his arm. David is really, 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 really strong about appearance, because one of the things he told her during the party, he was like, "We need to stick together. We have to stick together." Like he wanted her, like wherever he went, he wanted people to see them together. But anyway, it was a very beautiful party. She did a really great job with throwing the party. Goldie returns to do the dream work, to continue the dream work. She realized that her time to work with Tamar, the window, is closing because it's such a short period of time. She also knows that there has been some friction there based off the fact that David doesn't believe in the source of where her work is coming from. So she came back to revisit Tamar, and she said, I want us to explore that dream that you had about Ellen. And what we're going to do is we're going to do an exercise where they're going to do a visual walkthrough. So she had people on her staff to portray the different people that was in the dream, and they would just do what the people in her dream did. And she walked through the dream. So the first part of the dream was her and her sister. She was getting her acclimated to her sister, being there and trying to get a feel for, what she was feeling. And the funny thing is, Tamar was like, she felt nothing. And Goldie kept asking probing question, and Tamar was like, sorry, I don't have anything. So I don't know if it was just the fact that she wasn't connecting with, that portion of the dream, or if it's the fact that they didn't come to the party, if she had a little bit of reservation in reference to that, or to Goldie's point, she felt like because there's been interference between her work that Tamar was starting to show resistance, building those walls back up that she was working so hard to try to bring down. So she said, okay, we'll move to the next segment of the dream. And that was when the conversation was going on, and when the niece revealed that it was Ellen, not those two girls, Ursula and whatever the other girl name was in there, that it was Ellen. And then she was like, well, that was the end of the dream. So then she had her to close the eyes and try to go through understanding what that figure Ellen represented. And then from Tamar's question and probing that figure of Ellen, one of the things she said when she asked, why are you here? She's like, asked her what was she there for? And she was like, it said to get her. And she was like, what? And then Goldie was telling her, based off of her response to what was being shared, that she feels that David, the figure of David that's coming, represents the masculine betrayal that she has experienced in her life over the years. And that because she has, and the Ellen figure represent media. She's in the media. She's been trained to react and to be a certain way, and she feels like that Tamar has suppressed, some of her feelings and not really expressed herself fully based off of her being molded over the years. And what's happening, because she is suppressing those feelings, that she is going through the same cycle, that it keeps repeating itself. Because you keep going through the same thing, the only way you're going to break a cycle is to have a big breakthrough from whatever that is. So as they were trying to get a little bit more deeper into that course, as Goldie said, there would be some interruptions. There was a phone call, so she had to call Logan down. The mother was trying to get Logan to say yes to being in the wedding, because Trina's getting married in 2 weeks. So that let us know. We're thinking about timelines. This is getting ready to cross. Either she was taping this and Braxton Family Values at the same time, or time this filming stops, she's getting ready to go right into the Braxton Family Value. So they kind of give us a timeline of where we're at in reference to those shows. So anyway, then after that, one of the guys on her staff was sharing with her that, just listening to what Goldie was sharing with her, that it reminds him of the story of Joseph in the Bible. And then Tamar was like, huh? And he was like, because he actually had her mother ever told her the story of Joseph. She was like, no, did my mama tell you? He was like, no, it's in the Bible. And then Goldie was like, yeah, go get your Bibles. She went and got her Bible, and she was reading about Joseph, the dreamer. He was a dreamer, and you know how he would have those dreams, and when he would share the dreams of his brothers and stuff, how they had resentment for him because of some of the things that his dreams was revealing, made them feel like, oh, he think he better than us. Oh, here comes that dreamer. Here comes that dreamer. She was like, wait, let me find out that Joseph was into some dream work. So then as they was talking through that, phone's ring. It's David. And David is like, hey, I'm coming home. I'm about to confront Goldie. He says, I need to have another sit down with her. He says, what she's doing is witchcraft. Now, she's on the speakerphone because when you're on reality TV shows, one of the rules for reality TV shows is when you have a conversation, it has to be on a speakerphone. So they can, well, most reality shows, so they can hear what the other party is saying. So Goldie, she hears that, and she's taken back. And David comes home. When David comes home, that is where the chaos just explodes, because they end up in the back room. Hot mess. We hear they're not really mic'd up, so we're just picking up what the spare mics is, because they're not physically mic'd up on their body, and we hear them going back and forth. We hear David telling Goldie, you're not gonna tear my family up. You're not going to take Tamar from me. You're not going to mess up my family. You're not going to take my family away. And then you hear Goldie telling him, she cursing, and she's telling him that if he has such a problem with everything, where's the she went back to that twerking. Where's twerking at in the Bible? You don't have no problems when Tamar on stage twerking. Where's twerking at in the Bible? Why is twerking at in the Bible? And it seems like they both kind of was just getting heated, and you hear Tamar screaming, David, stop it, David, stop. So that's where that portion came in at, because apparently maybe both of them was in each other's face, because just based off production, they didn't really see anything, and they said they don't think it actually got physical, but he said he think that they were probably like in each other's face, and that just wasn't a good thing. And then they wanted to get Goldie out the house, because they said if David comes out the room and he sees Goldie, it wasn't going to get any better. It was too heated, and she was hot, he was hot, and nobody was in the mental state to allow reason to come in, because they all was in their feelings. And she went outside, and when she was outside, she was like, see, I can't do this. She was like, I feel like, this is just too much for me. I am totally drained. I do not, she just felt like it was turning into something really bad and negative for her. Because actually she really wanted to continue the conversation with Tamar, and it was like, no, this is not a good idea. Nobody is in this is not the space. This is not the time and the space. One of the things I did like that production did was they were more conscious and protective of, what was going on, to say, okay, look, this is crazy, and we don't want to get any crazier, so it's best that you leave and maybe come back a different time. But when Goldie was leaving, she said she's not coming back. She's not coming back. She said that it's messed with her energy level, and that actually one of the things she said is after working in this situation that she had to take a break from dream work, because it was that draining on her. It became toxic to her. She took on too much in reference to this. So she said, I'm wiping my hands. I'm done. They can have each other. She's like, because it's not going to change. She's not going to choose this process over her relationship with David, and long as David is here, he is a burial. He is stopping her from being able to do the work. And she can't. I'm not here to coach David and coach her. Which that was true. She's not there to work with David and Tamar. It was really with Tamar. Tamar has to work through her own issues. But then at the same time, she has to be professional enough to know, okay, let me not lose my cool. I'm invested in helping my client, and I have to meet my client where they're at. And if my client is not ready to receive or to do the work, I have to respect that, and I'm not going to take that personal. So I don't know. So that was the case. That's where they ended at. Tamar came out and asked where Goldie was. I said she left, and she was like, okay, well, good. I'm getting ready to go to bed. Like, she felt like, it sounds like she was through with it as well. So we got one more episode left. So we'll see what happens with that episode. So, of course, what are your takeaways? What are your takeaways from this episode? I want to know. Let me know in the comment below. who was right or wrong in this situation? Was David right in reference to trying to protect his family and feeling like Goldie work was going to interfere with him and Tamar's relationship? Was Goldie right in getting in David's face saying, okay, I have to have a voice and defend myself because I teach people to let their voice be heard. If I don't tell him what's on my mind, then that means I'm not being my true authentic self. So I'm going to tell him how I feel, and I don't care how it looks. Was Goldie right or wrong by expressing herself? And then Tamar, do you feel like David impacted her from continuing the work that she had agreed to do or she signed up to do with Goldie in this dream work? I want to know. Let me know. My takeaway is trust. You have to trust yourself. Trust yourself and know yourself. Trust yourself enough to know, okay, I recognize that this is an issue for me and I have to deal with this face on. The sooner I deal with this, the sooner I can grow from this, the sooner that I'm going to receive my breakthrough, and the sooner that I'm going to break the cycle and it's not going to continue to repeat itself. As a coach, trust yourself to know when to say when. I can bring you to the water, but I can't make you drink it. I can provide you with all of the tools, but I can't make you use it. If you like this video, go ahead and like it down below, share it, and hit that subscribe button. I will see you in the next video.